As for us, I had just graduated from college. I was 22 years old and living with my mother in a small one-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of town. Life was simple, but with a tinge of bitterness that my mother often expressed about the past. I never saw my father. He left us when I was very young. My mother, hardened by her experiences, often called him a traitor and a drunkard. Her words were harsh, and her fear that I would follow in his footsteps was always evident in the way she looked after me. My mom worked tirelessly as an accountant for a large company. Her best friend, Emily Carter, was a fun and charismatic woman she knew from their college days. That summer, Emily invited us to a housewarming party at her newly purchased cottage an hour outside of town. Frankly, I wasn't interested in spending time in a cottage with two middle-aged women, but my mom insisted. It was a sweltering day, and it was with some reluctance that I agreed to go. When we arrived, Emily Carter met us at the gate. She was stunning, which took me by surprise. A statuesque woman with perfect posture, brown hair elegantly coiffed, and hazel eyes with a mischievous sparkle in them. She looked nothing like I'd imagined her before. Her cottage was just as unexpected, not a ramshackle shack with an overgrown garden, as I'd imagined, but a modern two-story house with a spacious terrace and manicured lawn. Emily greeted us warmly and gave us a tour of the house. I was assigned a cozy bedroom on the second floor that overlooked a serene pine forest. During breakfast, both women chatted animatedly about work, rising expenses, and shared memories. I sat in silence, choking on the food on my plate and longing for fresh air. The day stretched on, uneventful and uneventful, until a small incident broke the monotony. Emily reached for the salt shaker and accidentally knocked over her coffee cup. She apologized and crouched down next to me to clean up the mess. When she stood up, our hands made contact. The touch was brief, but it pierced me. For a moment, her eyes met mine, and I instinctively smiled. That fleeting interaction changed something in me. For the first time, I saw her not as my mom's friend, but as a beautiful, confident woman. The day passed leisurely. We walked around the grounds, grilled kebabs, and relaxed on the terrace. From time to time, I caught Emily's eyes, or maybe it just seemed that way to me. As evening approached, my mom got an urgent call from work. She had to leave unexpectedly, and I assured her that I would stay, pretending that I wanted to go fishing at the lake the next morning. After Mom left, the atmosphere changed. Emily and I were left alone. She suggested we drink a bottle of wine on the terrace. The night was calm, and the distant cry of a night bird added to the atmosphere. We talked about everything, my plans for the future, her career, and life's uncertainties. Emily's sharp mind and subtle humor made her an interesting conversationalist. At one point, she looked at me intently and said, "You know, life sometimes brings unexpected surprises." Her fingers lightly touched my arm, and a wave of electricity passed between us. What happened next seemed surreal. That night we kissed with such intensity that it seemed beyond rational explanation. When morning came, I woke up in my bed. Emily was lying next to me, sleeping peacefully, her hair illuminated by the sunlight streaming in through the window. The sight of her stirred something deep inside me. I realized that I had fallen in love, sincerely and completely, as only the young can. We agreed to keep our relationship a secret. In the weeks that followed, I found reasons to come to the cottage every weekend, ostensibly to help with repairs. My mother remained in the dark. 2 months passed in a blissful haze, but all good things come to an end. Emily got a job offer in another city. On our last day, as we said goodbye, she looked at me with a bittersweet smile and said, "Thank you for this summer." Her words echoed long after her departure. It took me a few months to come to terms with her passing. The void she left behind was profound. And yet, as I reflect on that summer, I realize how much it shaped me. It forced me to face emotions I had never known and made me more mature and introspective. That fleeting season of love and discovery has remained a vivid chapter in my memory that I will cherish forever. For that random summer day and all that followed, I am deeply grateful.